But I do think this. I think that we are the one sport that the high school coach still matters. And until this satellite camp issue came up, which I don't really care to talk about, you still had to go to the high school. You had to go through the high school coach. The players came to your campus if they were interested in learning and having a good camp where they could develop, or if they were interested in your school from a recruiting standpoint. So I think by doing what we're doing now, we're doing what we've done in every other sport that we complain about every day, AAU basketball and all this, because that's what's happening out there. Anybody can have a camp now. If they have a prospect, they can have a camp. Then you're expected to go to that camp, and they can use you to promote their camp because Ohio State's coming, Alabama's coming, whoever else is coming. Somebody sponsors the camp, they pay them the money. What do they do with the money? Then who makes sure the kid paid to go to the camp? I mean, this is the wild, wild west at its best because there's been no specific guidelines relative to how we're managing and controlling this stuff. It's happening outside our normal evaluation window, which means we're taking time away from our players. Our players come back to school today. All right, so we start working and making sure that our players are doing the right things. With our strength and conditioning coaches, with our academic people, with the limited number of meetings that we're allowed to have with them. Now, we're not going to be there because we're going to be going someplace else to look at some other guy.
And how much does it really benefit a major program like you to go to a satellite camp? Benefit? Any benefit?
I don't know how much it benefits anybody.
Yeah.
Because all the people that say this is creating opportunities for kids, this is all about recruiting. That's what it's about. All right, so anybody that tells you that, and what's amazing to me is somebody didn't stand up and say, here's going to be the unintended consequences of what you all are doing.
With some of those unintended consequences, especially this year, it's a bit of a scramble for this conference, but if it's still around in a year, the potential for non-conference game schedules, as Penn State did with Georgia State, I believe, in their camp a year ago, the potential for sponsorships, potential for exclusivity for teams outside a conference. If the high school, for instance, said, I'll guarantee you exclusivity as the only SEC school to come to this state, this school, et cetera, at this time. Are those things that were brought up before, and frankly, are they bad things? As concerning as they are, for the high school, if they're able to get more money, is that really a concern? Is that a bad thing if they're able to get more funds by doing this?
Well, I think they can get more funds without using us. Every high school can have their own camp. Why do they have to use us? We want to have our own camp. We want people to come to our campus. It's not just about recruiting. We have a little camp for little kids. I get 1,200 kids. I had to stop it at that because we're trying to promote our game and develop players. And we still coach the 600 guys that come to our camps. We have 2 of them. We coach them just like we coach our players to try to help develop them. Now, we do have prospects in those camps, and we do see how they do. But that's not what the camp's for, not from our standpoint.
Would your position
be? So why should we be promoting somebody else's camp anywhere? Because it's the same thing I said before. This is the only sport where the high school coach still mattered. What they did at the high school mattered. So all you're doing is allowing all these other people that we spend all of our time at the NCAA saying, you can't recruit through a third party. You can't be involved with third party people. And that's exactly what you're doing. Creating all these third parties that's going to get involved with the prospects and all that. And then who gets exposed on that? You do. I go to a camp, and I'm talking to some guy I don't know from Adams House Cat, and he's representing some kid because he put the camp on. And then I'm in trouble for talking to this guy? And who even knows if the guy paid to go to the camp? Is the NCAA going to do that? I mean, we do that at our camp. We have people responsible for that. They're called compliance folks. What kind of compliance people do we have at these camps?
A couple more. Would your position be different if you were still coaching in the Big Ten? In other words, do you blame Jim Harbaugh for wanting to get outside of that region?
I'm not blaming Jim Harbaugh. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm just saying it's bad for college football. Jim Harbaugh can do whatever he wants to do. I'm not saying anything bad about him if he thinks that's what's best. There needs to be somebody that looks out for what's best for the game, not what's best for the Big Ten, or not what's best for the SEC, or not what's best for Jim Harbaugh, but what's best for the game of college football, the integrity of the game, the coaches, the players, and the people that play it. All right, that's bigger than all this. So that's what somebody should do. Now, who's doing that? I don't know. Because right now, since we have the Power Five, everybody's politicking for what they want, for their conference.
Who would you
Well, I
want
said
as
there
the
needs to
national
be a
commissioner?
commissioner. There needs to be a college football commissioner.
Who would you want for that role?
I don't have a candidate. I'm not in politics. I'm just telling you what I think needs to be done.
Do you believe